Greet you all students of AMI Final. This is in continuation, paper fourth. Entire poem, Poet Lover Bird Watcher, can be very well comprehended with this remarkable conclusion. Yes, the attainment of goal in the form of visionary light. The poet has got success in writing poem, composition of poetry. And so is the case with lover and bird watcher, ornithologist. So it is transition from flight to light, lost to found, and from darkness to enlightenment, illumination. And see, this is recovery of sight, symbolical significance of the words like deaf and blind. The person who was unable to hear and grab the important ideas on the one hand, and also not in a position to visualize the ring of light in the beginning. So the poet, this was the condition earlier. But through diligence, through patience, through steps taken forward as we discussed in detail earlier, the poet now he reaches the consummation. So see, here the path of morality and spirituality is the substantial point in the first stanza, and this point reaches its consummation in the concluding quatrain. So we can say that it is the exploration of a spiritual dimension of human life, which is embellished with light, with enlightenment. So it is also attainment of peace of mind, mental balance. And see, the poet here wants to highlight the significant point in this quatrain, not only flesh and bone, life in these, all these tasks, human life, be poetry writing, love matters, or ornithology. See, it is not confined to materialistic ways only, physical and sensual. Because even birds, they have soul, they develop affinity with human beings. So this spiritual dimension is very important. And even in poetry writing, it is inner urge, divine inspiration. Only then one can write a good poem. So this, say, association of poetry composition with the spiritual dimension, it is the crux of entire poem. And therefore, here, the intensity of emotion which reaches the zenith when the poet finds the solution of it. Yes, through patience and through perseverance, he has got success in achieving the goal. And therefore, he points out that now the another significant aspect here that poet wants to highlight, that all the negativity, that is darkness at the core. I mean, in the beginning, he was so ignorant. He could not comprehend the ideas. But gradually, from the proper way, or from the adoption of methods, or from the qualities, he is towards the achievement of goal. And therefore, see, the word sense is found. But crooked, the word, the poet lost in crooked. So all kind of vices, malice, cunningness, negativity, they are uprooted, eradicated. How? Through the attainment of visionary goal, visionary light. And therefore, now, when you write a poem, this, really divine creative experience. It is absolutely away with restlessness. The poet, at that time, he has procured the balance of mind, the peace of mind. And this is exactly, divine inspiration. And once it is spiritual or divine experience through the composition of poem, it is really a great contribution to the society. And therefore, now why poet? He has deliberately, selected these three tasks, these three activities, these three domains of ornithology, love matters. And he himself, he was passionately in love with the Daisy Jacob. And even, the source of inspiration for him when he talks about ornithology, yes, is another poem. Now, I would like to highlight his another poem, which is, say, The Paradise of Flycatcher. Now, this poem, Flycatcher, and it is associated with the realm of nature, and nature, which is really valuable treasure for human life, for the welfare of mankind. And now his poem, The Paradise Flycatcher, and it is composed for the celebrated ornithologist. And Zafar Futali, he was a contemporary to Nizam Askel, and he was very celebrated ornithologist and Indian naturalist and conservationist. And therefore, he was also member of BirdLife International Global Partnership, and credit goes to him for his mission, his devotion to this mission. And he was secretary of Bombay Natural History Society and recipient of say Padma Shri and other awards like Order of the Golden Ark. And he started a newsletter for bird watcher. And Nissim Askil, he was highly impressed with the Zafar Futali. So this must be the source of inspiration for him. And students, you should have idea that he, at least about his other poems like The Paradise Flycatcher, in which he has depicted the significance of this ornithology and how this, and yes, optimism also, the reflection of optimism. And this is the dire need of the hour, of the protection of environment and conservation of water and conservation of our treasure. All this, it's these trees and mountain ranges and rivers and all that. This is really a dire need of the hour, and therefore it's how it is relevant to the present context. This is, and therefore this mission, these famous personalities, they they have devotion to their mission, and entire life, it was a sort of dedication to such kind of pious noble task. And so it must be we can say a source of inspiration for the students and others, everybody, including ourselves. So therefore, this is the importance of conservation and the protection of nature when we talk about ornithology. So this reference, you must have idea about it. And yes, and he has become very popular for his optimism also. And so, famous saying is Zafar Futali's famous maxim, that when he wrote that all is not lost, we could start all over again. We could, any time we could start all over again. So this kind of ideas reflected in his say works and in his. Then now I would like to share one article. I know students at this level, for your better understanding, and when you write in examination, in order to improve your marks, and if you write very effectively, you can quote certain articles also. See, this is in this article published in the week Flutterstock, and it is about, say, ornithology, the importance of conservation and protection of environment. And that's why Nizam Askell, he was deeply concerned with nature, human nature, and how this, there is, unity among nature, human nature, and God. That's why he laid emphasis on the significance of say spiritual aspects of human life, and the blend of, I mean, combination, balance among all these materialism and spiritualism. Now in this article, it's about a very nice work written by Dr. Matthews, and he was also member of Bombay Natural History Society, and his book, especially his Winged Wonders of Rashtrapati Bhavan. This is nice, collection, and it's a book which is and there, can you believe 91 species of birds, in-depth study of that, of all these activities of birds, and how it is important for the survival of human life, and for strengthening human values also. All these aspects are covered in it, and there's a flycatcher, it is based on that, chasing the birds, and the affinity among birds, human beings, and say God and all. I mean, this is what exactly, and it is reminiscent of say Coleridge's poem, yes, Ancient Mariner. So a story of sin and redemption. So this article is also very inspirational, motivational, in which we come to know about these great personalities and their mission and their dedication and devotion. So it can be source of inspiration for, and it was published in say the week several years back. So this is about the various important aspects of human nature and treasure of nature, and all this. This is especially the book and the other websites that students can access. All the details are there. So Dr. Matthews, he has elaborated all these different dimensions so far as ornithology is concerned, and other significant aspects for the human existence. And now this is the selection of his, especially ornithology and love also. I mean, when we talk about love, and he is not confined to say only sensual and physical love. What is important? Platonic and spiritual. That also, and for getting success in human life, it is a must. This is what Nizam Askell wants to highlight. Now, when we talk about say his poem, Poet, Lover, and Bird Watcher, at that time, another point I would like to focus, students, mind you, that now in which publication? See, this is his famous poetic collection, the exact name, and that's why now this is, you can say, an answer to these questions, why he has selected this his the bird watching and love. I mean, this is obvious that it is his area of interest, but besides, the important point, the pivotal point that he wishes to highlight, that since it is published in this collection exact name, and this was it's a famous collection, and now the title itself is suggestive, exact. The human life in which we have certain realities, we have to face reality, and exactly, the commonplace, the matter from commonplace, ordinary life. And he has got, Nissim Askell, he has got mastery over idealizing and universalizing the content of commonplace. And this is exactly the reason that he has selected these topics, these particularly for this poem. And we have, common among all these three activities, some common aspects. And the here, the real and exact picture of human sensibility has to be presented, and the ordinary and commonplace must be the content of poetry. And this is and so this title, famous poetic collection of the exact man, it was derived from Zuen Raymond's Ximenes emphatic couplet. This is the point that you must have knowledge. And what was the couplet? This was very famous couplet. And Nissim Askell, he was inspired with this. Intelligence give me the exact name of things. And that's why the title, he has, the nomenclature of this title, the exact name. So the exact name in, yes, in the noble task in the society, noble task of writing poetry, of, yes, purity of love, intensity of emotions, and see the conservation of nature in the form of bird watching, or say conservation of water, and even mountain ranges, rivers, waterfall, all these, this is exactly presented in poetry. So poetry is the name of reality. And see, yeah, symbolical significance of the word wings, birds, they have wings. So poet, he has got remarkable imaginative vision, but at the same time very close to reality, integrated with realism, realistic presentation of human life. And on the one hand, when we say it is protection of environment, it is the dire need of the hour. In poetry, yes, it is protection of human values, established human values, and upliftment of human life. That's why Nissim Askell, he has pointed out that poetry is an expression of human sensibility and sensitivity. So that's why this poem, The Poet, Lover, Bird, Watcher, it is published in his famous poetic collection in this volume, The Exact Name. So we must have deeper understanding of the exactness of human life, which is expressed with visionary light, with divine inspiration in the form of poetry. Yes, composition of poetry, which is a great contribution to human life for the welfare of generations after generations. And yes, again, it is the protection of human values. Thank you.